EDCI 706 candidates, Dr. Palermo. It is August 28th, and the first day of our formal first day of our fall semester. I know it's also the first day of school for many of you, and I wish you best wishes and luck on your first day of school. Day one, new beginnings are full of hope and promise, and I hope that you have a wonderful school year, that everything goes the way you would like. It was a pleasure to meet you this past weekend in Goldsboro and to spend some time with you. After that first weekend, you should have a better sense of who I am and how I operate. And I hope that, again, we're going to have a successful semester together. So I look forward to that. I thought about a lot of things that I wish I had done on the drive home yesterday afternoon. Let me touch on just a couple of those, and also encourage you to reach out to me again with questions about your projects, about particularly the PLCPA and FCEPA that you should start thinking about now. And I hope that you picked up from me yesterday that my philosophy about these artifacts, about these projects, are that they should be a way for you to demonstrate your mastery of the theories like change and how to do needs assessments, put plans in place to how you are practicing continuous improvement. So in that vein, I was looking for a PowerPoint that I had created on continuous improvement and a little bit of background. I included that here in this week one content for you. So you may want to go back and review that along with your reading. Your reading primarily this first week, is Hall and Hoard. And I did not, we did those overview PowerPoints that are in the August 26, 27 content. But if you will please read Hall and Hoard closely, look at the examples that they cite. I think the examples help to illustrate their points really pretty well. In terms of, again, your experience at schools is going to be individual, and if you're at a community college or at a private residential facility, that's going to be different. But most of you are in schools, and most of you can relate to this list on page 3 in part 1 on Hall and Hoard that says, at this particular school, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new change initiatives. Some were continuing, some were new. A district initiative, assistant superintendent initiative. So this multitude of initiatives gives you the idea that Hall and Hoard know what happens in schools. They're firmly have their feet in schools and understand the multitude of change initiatives that reform brings. There are some great principles here about the change process and how you can help to implement and facilitate that change process. It is a leap across a bridge. The giant leap implementation is a giant leap from the idea of adopting a new policy to actually putting it into practice. And as I think we acknowledge with that recognition of Jills and Jacks and Mavens and Saboteurs, when a change initiative comes down or is introduced at the school level, not every teacher, not every practitioner is going to implement this the same way in their classroom. Some, not at all. So one of the change principles is that what you put out there is not always necessarily what you get. One of the key ideas in change is to have a vision, have everybody in the staff on board and on the same page. I didn't really explain all of my little Lufkin flowcharts really well, but the idea is that we had a process in order to try to arrive at that common vision. And that was the big idea there with number 1. And then with number 2, about the house diagram, everything lining up. Again, what I was trying to practice there was that we do have alignment of our different initiatives to reach our goals. And again, you'll see that those are our prime principles for successfully implementing change. Now, I think it's interesting in Chapter 1 that Hall and Horde also say that successful change can be mandated. Now, bottom-up change or top-down change, sometimes we just have a mandate. Sometimes something like Common Core comes down the pike and we don't have a choice whether we can postpone that or not implement it. It's something you must do. Surprise, they say, mandates can work as a successful approach to change if communication, learning, and support are provided across the adoption and implementation stages. Also, the big idea here is that successful change on a large scale takes 3 to 5 years, and we often don't devote that much time to it. In fact, oftentimes there are changes in administration, changes in leadership that change the initiatives or fail to support old initiatives to help them be successful. Usually one major change at a time is planning, and usually we have 2 or 3 that are coming down the pipe at the same time. One of the other big ideas here, I hope that I communicated to you, is that it is my philosophy that your work on these projects should support, align with, and it should be a win-win as far as what you want to try to accomplish for your EDCI program and what the school is trying to accomplish in terms of reform initiatives and change initiatives and improvement, continuous improvement initiatives. You should, at most public schools, K-12 in North Carolina, you should have a school improvement plan in place at your school. I assume that your principal or a leadership team are the keepers of the flame for that school improvement plan. Please, if you do not have a close personal relationship with your principal, with members of your leadership team, reach out to those folks. They're going to be key in you being successful in reaching the goals of your program. So, most school improvement plans will have some sort of community, climate, some sort of a component, a goal related to community parent support. Your family community engagement project specifically asks you to work on 1 or 2 or 3 things to improve that takes a village approach. Align with your school improvement plan, please. What is it that your principal most would like to have done at your school this year? Is it to boost the numbers in the PTA? Is it to get folks involved in order to help an at-risk population like ESL students be successful? Whatever it might be, see how you can get your FCEP to align with the goals of the school. Same with PLCP-A and B. You can assess, you can determine on your own what would be good for improving PLCs at your school. But if the principal already has an idea, or if the leadership team has already identified certain aspects of PLCs that they want to try to improve or increase this coming school year, please align your plan with that. Now, one of the dialogue posts that I closed for this week was your initial ideas on the FCEP. Please don't overlook that you need to get started on these 2 projects, the PLCPA, the FCEPA, soon. You're very busy with the first day of school this week, but you're going to soon have meetings at school for leadership team, for other initiatives. What are they on board with? What do they want to try to do this school year? Because again, you should piggyback with your FCEPA and PLCP. Shana gave a great example of how changing administrations in PLCPs meant less accountability and the performance had dropped off at their school. So again, when you're reflecting about PLCs and starting to look at the Ferreter book in terms of PLCs and their effectiveness, there are several principles here I want you to think about it. And again, this is something that I wish I had said on Sunday. Your PLC, okay, vision, alignment, accountability. Again, it goes back to the vision and knowing where you want to go as a PLC, aligning those visions with the activities, with the things that you're doing, and then supporting it. Shana gave the example again of how there was a changing administration. The new principal didn't put as much emphasis on PLCs, and student performance dropped off. Mandates can work if they're given support in the implementation and facilitation. And accountability can produce results if there's consistent and accountability with a vision. I'll say more about that later. Other things I'm thinking about following our first weekend, if there is someone who has served as a chaplain at their church or their community organization, Boy Scouts in the past, and you would like to serve as the chaplain in weekends 2 or 3, I would welcome that opportunity and probably give some extra credit to somebody who wanted to do that. I really enjoyed our fellowship and eating together with you on Sunday. Maybe we can continue that. Hall and Horde, read the introduction and chapter 1 carefully, please. Review your CNA and think about FCEP and PLCPAs. Do a little bit of reflection here and read what others have written. You do not need to respond to all peers. It says read all peers' responses. Respond as you choose. That's all for this week, but you've got a busy week with school starting off. Enjoy, please, and don't forget to get started on your PLCPAs and FCEPAs. That's all for this week. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.